This is my 5-step fat loss method that took me from 215, probably in the worst shape of my life, to sub 10% body fat. So if you want to know how to build muscle and lose fat at the same time, make sure you stay till the end of this video. Me at 215, I had just done a dirty bulk, gained 30 pounds in 3 months. And of course, there was no structure when it came to my nutrition, and there was no structure inside my workouts. I was probably getting fast food like 6 times a week, just stuffing my face with everything and anything possible. And then inside the gym, I wasn't tracking my workouts, so I didn't know if I was progressing. I was just going in there and kind of doing what felt good. And then when I implemented my 5-step fat loss method, I went from 215 down to 190. And I started removing a lot of that extra belly fat and obviously that face fat. Everything started to come together, but I still wasn't really happy with how I looked, but I was happy with my progress. And then when I really decided to take things to that next level and get to sub 10% body fat, I was tracking every single macro. I was tracking my body weight every single day, and I was tracking all of my workouts. Everything was dialed into a T, and that's kind of what it takes to get down to that sub 10% body fat. This transformation that I made right here and the method that I learned, I now implement with my clients, and these are some of the wins. My guy Aaron, this is a 3-month transformation. His arms doubled in size, his belly came way down. He actually has a V now, looks like a Dorito. If you looked at his back, it's insane. And this is all done in 3 months using my method. He went from 207 down to 190. And the same thing right here, this is a full 6-month transformation. From 250 down to 210. He lost those love handles, obviously revealed those top abs, and he actually ran a marathon. Crazy transformation. And then right here, my guy Xander went from 160 down to 140. And a lot of people, they're scared to continue cutting. But if you do have that belly fat and you do have extra fat that you want, you need to continue to cut, because you can build muscle while you're in a cut. All these guys on the right side down 40, 20 pounds, they are stronger on the right side than they were on the left, because that just comes down to having that data and tracking your workouts and having a proper diet in place that's actually going to support your goals. Now, my exact 5-step fat loss method, and it's only 5 pillars. First is going to be data. You need to start tracking things. If you don't know what your body weight is, if you don't know how many calories you're intaking, and if you don't know what weight you're using inside your workouts, then you're not going to get to where you want to go. You're just going to continue guessing and stay in this plateau for years to come. And that's exactly where I was when I was at 215. I wasn't tracking anything, but when I started tracking my body weight every morning, I started tracking my calories. Those two went hand in hand to make sure that I was losing this fat, and then I was tracking my workouts, and that right there went hand in hand with making sure I was building muscle, and then obviously taking your progress photos so that you can physically see yourself getting better week by week. And then the second pillar is going to be nutrition. You need to create something that is sustainable. Adherence is always number one. Even if the diet isn't the cleanest, a diet that you can't stick to is worse than a diet that you can stick to that maybe isn't the perfect macros or the very best food. But to begin with, you need to make sure that you hit your protein first. Try to get that 0.8 to 1.0 grams of protein per pound of body weight. And then carbs, you cannot cut out your carbs. You just need to time them around your training. You need to have a lot before your workout. A lot of people don't do that. They don't have the rice cakes and the banana and the honey right before their workout and carb load. That right there is going to give you so much energy for your workout, and you're going to get an insane pump, and trust me, just try it out. And then post workout, you need to refill that glycogen that you just depleted, so you need to have a fat carb meal right there. And then at dinner, you can cut back on the carbs just a tiny bit, but you still need those carbs so that you can recover overnight. And then of course, you can just optimize everything over time, trying to fit in better things, better protein sources, better micronutrients. And as I always say, the best diet is one that you can actually stick to. And now the third pillar is going to be training. Number one is you have to train with intensity. So many people I see in the gym, they train with 0 intensity. Sometimes I even see people literally on their phone while they're hitting a set. And I'm like, are we serious right now? You're not pushing to failure at all. Like, if you don't give your muscles a reason to grow, they're not going to grow. You need to be doing progressive overload. Like, for example, your sets need to have that intensity to where you're blasting your music and you're 100% focused. Like, you're literally hyping yourself up to try to get this heavy ass weight for 6 reps. Like, let's say last week you did 50 pounds for dumbbell curls. This week you're trying to go for 55 and you got to get at least 6 reps. You need to really focus and actually dial in on your set. You can't be on your phone. You need to have your music dialed in. You need to mentally prepare, and you have to give it everything you have. You physically have to give your muscles a reason to grow. When you do that progressive overload, and last week you did 50s and this week you go up to 55, and then you try to get 8 reps. Try your best to get 8 reps, and if you do 6, perfect. You just try to progress that up to 8 the next week. And then of course, when you have those two in place, when you're actually training with the proper intensity and you're doing a progressive overload, you need to choose exercises that you actually enjoy. They need to be pain-free. If back squats give you knee pain, if shoulder press gives you shoulder pain, don't do them, because it's not long-term sustainable. And obviously, if it's painful when you're doing it, you're probably not really feeling it in the muscle. So pick exercises that you actually enjoy, that you can consistently progress week by week. And then of course, just go in there with a purpose. Have a split built out, have everything laid out so that when you go in there, you have a plan and you know exactly what you're going to do. Now, number 4 is going to be activity. And this right here is what makes your diet work. at the end of the day. I got about 15 to 20,000 steps throughout my entire cut, going from 190 down to 175. And it's game changer. It allowed me to eat upwards of like 25, almost 3,000 calories on a daily basis while still losing fat. And that right there gave my body the proper nutrients to still, even with a good amount of muscle already on me, I was still able to build more muscle while being in a deficit, just because walking obviously helps you recover and it helps you burn fat. So you need to be tracking your steps, getting those 10K consistently, because a lot of people, they get their 10K Monday through Friday, and then the weekend comes and they're getting no steps at all, and then they eat the same amount of calories. That right there is exactly why a lot of people do stay stuck. And then of course, you just need to, when you have all these 4 things in place and you're tracking all of that, you just review it weekly. You look at your body weight. Did it go down about a pound or 2 pounds? Did your workouts go up? And then if anything is not going in the right direction, you make the proper adjustments, whether that's bumping your steps up, lowering your calories, or changing the workouts if they were giving you pain. And doing that every single week is going to make sure that you're moving in the right direction every single week. And now this right here is the 6 reasons why most men fail. To begin with, people still cut carbs in the big 2026. Do you not realize that carbs give us energy? They are the cornerstone for giving us energy. And at the end of the day, whenever you eventually do end up adding carbs back in, because it's not sustainable. Cutting out carbs completely is not sustainable long term. And when you do eventually add those carbs back in, you're going to see your body weight go through the roof. So you need to make sure that you keep the carbs in. It just comes down to timing them out around your workout. And then people do too much cardio. They're over here doing jogs, doing who knows what, when jogs literally pull from your carbs. They don't pull from your fat. They pull from your carbs. They make you have to recover from it. Walking doesn't make you recover from it. Walking actually helps you recover. So don't do jogs anymore. Just do an incline walk before your workout, after your workout, whatever you need to do to actually hit your 10K steps. And people are doing random workouts still. I mean, a lot of people, it's very difficult for them to track their workouts. And I know that. Like maybe less than 1% of people actually do track their workouts. But when you do track your workouts and you see what you did last week and then you try to get stronger and you try to get stronger, that's how you're going to build muscle. And a lot of people say it's impossible to build muscle while in a cut. I've done it. All of my clients have done it. And it's because we follow a workout routine that's going to be a huge piece for people. And people don't track anything. Right here, the 4th pillar. People don't track their calories. They don't track their body weight every morning. They don't track their progress photos. When it comes to tracking the calories, like I understand that can be a bit difficult, but tracking your body weight every single morning, that's as simple as just getting up, stepping on the scale, seeing what your body weight is. And then when you look at the weekly trend, you'll know if you were gaining weight, if you were losing weight, and then you'll know in the back of your head how much food you actually ate, and then you can adjust based off of that. And then people rely on motivation. Motivation is going to come and go. You just have to have a system that you can repeat day after day. Getting up, going on a walk, hitting your meals, going to the gym, following that workout, just doing that day in and out is exactly what's going to actually get you those results. Not instead of like, okay, I'm motivated, let's make some food for this week, when you still have no idea how many calories it is, and then okay, I got some motivation, let's go to the gym, but you still aren't tracking your workouts. And a lot of people, the last thing is they quit too early. Like I've been working out for almost 6 years now. I've dealt with a bunch of injuries. I've dealt with a lot of lost motivation, just no consistency at times. But then when I really dialed in for the past 2 years now of like consistent, trying to better myself, trying to learn as much as possible, now I'm in the best shape of my life. And before I used to think I looked good, but now when I really looked good and got to that sub 10% body fat, I know that it takes a good amount of time to get to that sub 10%. And a lot of people, they quit way too early. They go for a month, they don't really see the results that they want, and they end up quitting when it's a long game. Like you can make a good transformation in 3 months, and then you can make an insane transformation in 6 months. But people think that they can do it in a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. No, it's going to take you at least 3 months to see like really good progress, and then 6 months for an entire like body recomposition. So you just have to stay at it and don't make these 6 mistakes. Now, the first step in my 5-step fat loss method is going to be data. To begin with, you need to be tracking your weight every single morning. It just has to be consistent. Right as soon as you wake up, go to the bathroom and weigh yourself, and then track. Obviously, it's going to go up and down based off of water retention and how much food you ate, how late you ate the food. But when you track it for 7 days, and then you're going to see whether it's trending up or it's trending down. And then your calories are going to be adjusted based off of what you were seeing with the scale. So you take your body weight, you times it by 15, and then you minus it by 500. You eat that many calories per day. And then when you see your weight trend, if it went down by 5 pounds in the first week, you can probably bump your calories up. That is way too much. You only really want to lose about 1 to 2 pounds every single week. Like at the start, you're probably going to lose a little bit more whenever you like go from eating completely terrible, doing no workouts, to working out, hitting your steps, tracking your macros, eating clean. You're probably going to lose a lot of weight to begin with. But when things start getting going, like the second, third, fourth week, and you're losing a consistent 2 pounds, 1 pound, you know that your diet's working. But obviously you just have to adjust based off of what you see with the scale, taking that weekly average. And if it's going down, just keep it exactly where it's at. But if you're losing it too fast, bump your calories up. If it's not going down, bump your steps up or lower the calories by like 100, 200 max. Just do it very slow and controlled, because you need to make sure that you have everything dialed in if you want to lose fat while building muscle. And then third, when it comes to your data, you need to be tracking your workouts. You need to have a training log. You can write it in a book, you can download an app, but you need to make sure that you're building out workouts and then repeating those week after week so that you can see yourself getting stronger. You start building good mind to muscle connection on these workouts instead of just changing up your workouts every single week, building no mind muscle connection, not knowing if you're getting stronger. And then next, you need to take progress photos. Like you need to take them every single week, look at the differences. It's going to give you so much motivation whenever you look at your week 1 to month 1, and then from week 1 to month 2, you're going to be like, holy, I am making crazy progress. And it's going to give you so much motivation, and it's going to show you that what you're doing is actually working. And then of course you need to be tracking your steps. There's so many apps out there that allow you to track your steps. Your phone does it by itself. Just go in there and check it every day. Make sure that you're getting your 10K. And if you're not getting your 10K, add in a 20-minute incline walk after your workout. Go on a little 10-minute walk as soon as you wake up, or get a treadmill and walk at home when you're watching TV. They're like $100, and it makes hitting your steps feel effortless. I'll tell you that right now. I have a treadmill. That's how I'm easily able to hit 15, 20, 25,000 steps every single day. And then of course, whenever you have all 5 of these things in place, you need to be doing weekly reviews. Check your body weight, check your calories, check your training log, check your progress photos, check everything right here, and make any adjustments that need to be made. Now, step 2 is going to be the nutrition side of things. As I always say, adherence is always first, which is why when I go and build meal plans, I make sure to tell me, what foods do you actually like? What foods do you dislike? What foods could you eat on repeat for the next 3 months? And then I build meals based off of that. Because if I just give you some plain meal plan that's like perfect on the micronutrients, perfect on the protein, perfect on everything, but it doesn't taste good and you're not going to stick with it, then it's not a good diet. But the one that you can actually stick to long term, that maybe isn't the best, is going to win every single time. And second, you obviously have to be in a calorie deficit. Take your body weight, times it by 15, and your body weight in pounds, times it by 15, minus it by 500. Because obviously at the end of the day, fat loss requires you to be in a calorie deficit. You need to have less nutrients than your body needs to gain more weight, right? That's exactly how a calorie deficit works. Then you need to be consistent with your protein. This right here is what's going to allow you to build muscle while in this deficit. So obviously just hit that 0.8 to 1.0 grams daily. The way that I would recommend structuring it is you get a solid breakfast in with 4 to 6 eggs, maybe a little bit of carbs in there. Your lunch, you get ground beef and rice, and then post-workout, you get a protein shake in, and then you have your dinner with whatever chicken or rice or whatever potatoes you want. Whatever it is that you want to do, you just make sure that you get those consistent 3 meals in there that have solid protein, and then throw in a protein shake after your workout, and I promise you, you're going to consistently hit your macros. And if you are like upwards of like 230, 250, just set your protein to like 200 grams. It's perfectly fine. And carb timing. So many people do not have carbs before their workout. And I'm like, what are we doing? Carb loading is a necessity. Every single day, I have 4 rice cakes, 2 servings of honey, and a banana. That's over 100 grams of carb. Obviously, I can eat a lot more calories than a lot of my clients who are pretty deep into a cut. So what I would recommend is starting out with 2 rice cakes, 1 banana, and a serving of honey 15 minutes before your workout, and you'll see the difference right away. I'm telling you that right now. Your workout is going to be way better. Post-workout, you need to go pretty heavy on the carbs as well. I would say that your post-workout meal should be heavier on the carbs than your dinner. So basically get your ground beef, get your rice, but go a little heavier on the rice. Go like 300-400 grams. And then dinner, you can go a little bit lighter, but you still want those carbs in there. It just comes down to getting consistent amount every single day, whatever your macros actually line up to. And then food quality is important. Over time, as you get used to consistently eating these foods, meal prepping, you just want to upgrade it to mostly red meat. Chicken is good, don't get me wrong, but it has like probably 1/3 the amount of micronutrients as red meat. So over time, just try to progress your micronutrients. Try to add in bell peppers, try to add in carrots, try to add in more salmon, and then taking your supplements, whatever it is, just try to upgrade it over time as you start getting used to things. And then of course your diet has to be flexible. There's times where I go to restaurants, there's times where I don't really get fast food anymore, but there's times where I go out to get restaurant food with my family, and your diet has to be flexible for that. The way that I do it is the amount of calories I was supposed to eat at that meal, I just replace it and get that stuff at the steakhouse or whatever it is that I go to, and I just try to choose the best option possible, whether it's like steak and potatoes. I mean, that's my go-to right there. Or sometimes I'll splurge and I'll get a burger, but it all just comes down to planning for it and making sure that you don't do it too much, like twice a week max. But other than that, the nutrition side of things is very simple. It just comes down to actually taking action and getting it done. Now, step 3 is going to be training. You need to have structure. I would download an app called Heavy. I'm not sponsored, but Heavy is a really good way of tracking your workouts. You go in there and you can go to Instagram, you can follow the workouts that I've posted, but just go in there and log the whole thing in there. Pick the amount of volume that you want. The recommended volume for me is 8 to 10 sets per muscle group per week. And the split that I do is push-pull legs, repeat. If you want to do less days, just do push-pull legs, or do push-pull legs upper, or do push-pull legs upper lower if you want to go 5 days a week. All of these things, they work. Just pick one and roll with it. The split really doesn't matter. If you want to do chest and back, whatever it is, I mean, really don't do chest and back. I don't really agree with that, but whatever split that you want to do, Arnold, pick it and roll with it. It is not that important. The workout selection is a bit more important. So pick workouts that you actually enjoy, that you can perform pain-free, build those out inside an app, and repeat that week for the next 12 weeks and try your best to progress those lifts every single week. Right here, progressive overload. What I recommend for these sets and reps, I do 2 sets of however many exercises I need to do to get the proper amount of volume for that workout. The only reason I don't like to do 3 sets is because you can still get the same amount of volume just doing 2 sets. Just add in more workouts. My reasoning behind that is when I did 3 sets of an exercise, let's say, for example, I was doing dumbbell incline. My first set, I would go hard, really, really hard, and I would be dead. I'm like, damn, I got 2 more sets of this? And then that second set, I feel like I would kind of just go half-ass, not really push myself as hard as I should have. And then that third set, like, obviously I go pretty hard again. But that second set, it was like a waste of my time. Whenever I do that first set and I go super hard, I'm like, okay, just one more. Give it everything we got. And I give it everything I have for that second set. And then I go and I move on to my next movement, whether it's like a tricep. And I like to alternate. If it's a push day, I do my chest, tricep, and then shoulder, and then a chest, tricep, and shoulder movement. Whatever you want to target the most, put that as the first exercise. If you want to target your triceps the most, put dips first and then move into a chest exercise. But whatever you want to target the hardest, put that at the top. I want to target my chest the most, so I always have incline dumbbell or my chest movement first. And then do 6 to 8 reps. If you're getting 8 reps, go heavier to where you're only getting 6. And then once you go from 6 up to 8, go heavier. And it's just you're gonna see yourself getting stronger every single week. And you need to bring intensity to your workouts, as I've always talked about. People that go in there and they can literally be on their phones mid-set, you're not gonna grow. You need to like physically be making a face. Like, that's how I say it. If you're not making a face, you're not gonna grow. Like, even look at this guy right here. He's freaking dying. He's dying. You need to like physically be in there and like shaking. Even do partial reps if you have to. Like, make your muscles have to grow. They need a reason to grow, or else they're not gonna grow. And I've learned that the hard way. Training the mild discomfort. You're not gonna put on any muscle. That's what really allowed me to get sub 10% body fat, because I was pushing very, very hard. And I went from 190 down to 175, and I got stronger. That's because I brought intensity to every single workout. And then I had the diet to support that. Then of course, exercise selection. Pick exercises that feel good, pain-free, and roll with them. 5 is recovery. You need to make sure that you're getting 8 hours of sleep, or 6 to 8. I'm not saying you need to get 8 every night. I'm not saying that I get 8 every single night, but try to get that 6 to 8. Take your magnesium glycinate. Do everything you can to try to recover as best as possible. If you have access to a sauna, try to go get that sauna in 2 times a week. Make sure that you're hitting your 10K steps. And then of course, just stay consistent with it. Whatever amount of days you decide to do your split, just be consistent with it. Don't set unrealistic expectations. If you're saying you're gonna go 6 days a week, but you're having a packed schedule, you're not gonna do it. So just pick 4 days a week. Something that you will consistently show up for, that you can do for the next 10 years. That's the biggest thing, is finding out what you can do long term, because this isn't a short-term fix. You need stuff that you can continue to do 10 years down the line and create a long-term solution for the problems that you've been having. Now, step 4 is going to be activity. This is something that I pressed very hard. Back in the day when I was 215, like, I knew getting your 10K steps was important, but I didn't take it too seriously. Like, there's days when I would get 5K and then I would get like 12K, 8K. It was just very inconsistent and up and down, and I wasn't tracking my macros. I was eating whatever. But when I dialed in and I started getting 20,000 steps, I did 20,000 for a month straight. And then after that, I went to 16,000 every single day. And then after that, I went to 15,000. I was just trying to figure out what was sustainable for me, Because at the time when I was getting 20,000, 15,000, I realized like I need to figure out something that's sustainable, because it got to a point where I was needing to eat so many calories just to maintain my body weight. But then I figured out that around 15K is like the sweet spot for me, where I can consistently do that on a daily basis and it doesn't hinder my recovery and it doesn't make me have to eat so many calories to stay in my maintenance. But track your steps every day. Your phone has a health app. Just go in there and look at it every single day. Make an effort to try to get your 10K steps Monday through Friday. And then burn more without working out. Literally, the more steps you get, the more calories you burn, the more food you can eat. Just make an effort. Like literally go on some walks. If you're on a call, like walk around. If you're doing errands, make sure you have your phone on you and just try to move more throughout the day. The more you move, the more you can eat. So just try to create a lifestyle that's gonna allow you to just burn more calories, so that if you do end up eating a little more food than you were supposed to, those steps got you covered. Like there's times where I'll eat more than I want to, so I was like, okay, I gotta get about 25,000 steps today. Like you can correct these things just by getting more steps. You need to be using cardio as a tool. Like literally cardio, not cardio, steps, like basically an incline walk. An incline walk is what I mean by cardio. You do not want to be doing jogs. Sprints are okay if you do them controlled and for the testosterone spike and the human growth hormone spike, but that's not really what we're getting into. That's a lot higher level. You need to be using cardio as a tool to raise your output. The more calories you burn, the more you can eat, which is actually going to allow your weight to go down. So many people I talk to, they don't track their steps at all, and it's very difficult for them to go from like consistently getting 4K all the way up to that 10K. So I have to slowly work with them and try to get them up to that 10K. Like over time, we move up to 6K, we move up to 8K. We try to figure out spots where we can fit in these walks, and then it starts becoming secondhand nature to them, and they start seeing crazy results. And obviously, it's gonna help you recover. Walking literally helps you recover. It's a zone 2. It improves blood flow and helps you burn more fat. Just start doing it more. Obviously, allows you to eat more, and you just need to be consistent with it. On the weekends, so many people, they don't get their steps. Like I noticed the trend too, even on like with my clients. During the week, they have their work, they're getting their steps, they're burning a lot of calories, and then the weekend comes and I'm like, come on guys, we got to pick it up. So you just got to try to get those steps up on the weekend as well, whenever you do more of that sedentary stuff and you're not working out and you're not going to work. So your burn is going to be way lower. You need to just remove your pre-workout carbs as well. Like when I talked about the rice cakes, the banana, you just cut those out on your rest days, which will drop your calories about 300 to 500 depending on how many rice cakes you're gonna have, and then just hit your steps. It is literally a cheat code, and that is exactly how I got to sub 10% body fat while building muscle. Now the last thing is just going to be making adjustments, because what you get set at for week 1 is going to end up needing to change. Like when you start at 2,500 calories and then you look at your weight and it went down and it's going down and it's going down, and then once you hit like month 2 and you're not really losing weight, you got to make some adjustments. You got to bump up the steps a little bit more. You got to lower the calories by 100, 200, and then see what happens. Like look at everything. Look at your body weight. Look at your calories, look at your steps, look at your workouts, look at your progress photos. Look at how your hunger has been, how have your energy levels have been. You need to do a third point perspective. Look at everything. What can we change to optimize this? Most of the time, people don't have anything in place. They don't have any body weight tracking. They don't track their calories. They just try to get into the gym and they try to eat cleaner. That's the 99% of what I hear most people do. They try to eat cleaner. They try to get into the gym. But that's not going to create long-lasting results, something you can do long-term. Number 2, the weight trend. Like as we talked about, if you see your weight consistently going down, keep your calories where they're at until it plateaus. And then adjust the steps, adjust the calories. Progress photos is going to allow you to have motivation so you can see yourself progressing every single week. And then if your lifts are stalling, maybe bump the steps up. Try to get more calories in, try to get more carbs in, but it's going to get to a point where you're going to have started at, let's say you started at 200 pounds body weight and then you cut down to 170, you're going to have lost 30 pounds. And then when you continue to try to press more weight, the difference starts getting so large that it's like at some point you're not going to be able to progress any farther. And that's when you stop, go back into your maintenance calorie, and then maybe even a lean bulk. And then obviously just work your way back up from there. And then the more calories that you're adding back into your diet, it's going to give you more energy to press harder in the gym. And then you just got to make the proper changes when they're needed. And then last, you just need to make sure that you're patient with it. It's not going to be some fast fix like that. The whole goal of this is to build habits and learn things that have taken me 6 years to learn. I implement these into people's lives within 3 months, so that moving forward they know exactly what to do when it comes to the diet portion of things, when it comes to the workout portion of things, how to track everything, how things should look. And you have to stay patient with the progress. 3 months, I'm telling you right now, you can make good progress in 3 months. 6 months, you can make excellent progress. A year from now, you can have an entire different identity. So that was my 5-step fat loss method of how I went from 215 pounds, worst shape of my life, down to 175, sub 10% body fat. And if you want me to set this all up for you, if you are looking for a coach, I will leave a link in the description and you can book a one-on-one call with me. I'm going to take a look at where you're at right now. If I genuinely think I can help you, and then we can go from there. But until the next one, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this.